Well, you heard that I helped to build a spacecraft that landed on Mars for the very first time.
那刚刚老师早上分享啊，就是他第一次呢，他所设计的这个，就是这个太空协助帮忙设计这个太空船呢，就是登上这个火星的第一台。
So that is what is called the Viking spacecraft.
就是这个维京1号。
And you also, I started to tell you that I was sitting all alone on a mountain.
那老师呢，他之前就是一个人独坐在这个山上。
And after 5 days of meditation,
做了5天的冥想。
Suddenly I knew how to build this spacecraft.
他突然呢就知道要怎么样来设计他这个太空船。
The Americans have not yet built a spacecraft that can land on the surface of the planet.
那个之前呢，其实美国他们还没有开发设计出这样子可以降落在那个火星表面的一艘这个船。
So I helped the Americans to be able to land on the surface of Mars. It's an automatic landing of the spacecraft.
所以那个时候呢，老师呢，他就是经过冥想之后，他就想出这个可以让他自己能够降落在火星上面的这样子的一个船。
So now I'd like to tell you, what did I do sitting all alone on top of the mountain?
那老师要现在分享的就是那个5天他独自在山中发生的事情。
And all of you have that capability to find out information.
在座的各位，同样的，你也有那个能力，能够自己就是找寻到这个答案。
If you teach the children to practice meditation, we can reach up to the highest truth.
如果呢，大家都教导学生，然后一起能够练习这样的静坐冥想，其实都能够帮助他达到更高一层的这个精神性这个意识。
We all have that super consciousness within ourselves.
每个人都有更高的这样子的意识存在。
So I'll now tell you how I practice meditation so as to raise the consciousness high.
那我现在要跟大家分享，就是我那时候呢是怎么样在练习冥想，让自己能够达到这个更高的这个意识层次。
You see on this picture, a picture of Aladdin.
大家这边看到一张图，这个 Aladdin 的这个图。
Aladdin was one day digging in the ground.
阿拉丁呢，他有一天呢就在挖这个土。
And suddenly he found something hard underneath the ground.
那突然间呢，他发现有个东西很硬。
He thought it was a piece of rock, so he's going to dig it and throw it away.
他本来以为呢，那应该是一颗石头，所以他想说把它挖出来丢掉。
So he dug down and he found it was not a piece of rock.
他就一直挖，一直挖，结果发现不是石头，
But it was an old lamp.
居然是一盏很老的一个灯。
So he brought the lamp, and it was dirty, so he wiped the lamp.
所以呢，因为那个灯很旧很脏，所以他就把它擦干净。
And as he was wiping the lamp, smoke came out from the lamp.
那当他把它擦干净的同时呢，突然有一股烟呢就跑了出来。
And smoke became a big giant.
然后呢，突然这个烟就变成了一个大巨人。
The giant prostrated himself in front of Aladdin and said, "Thank you for saving me."
这个大的这个巨人就跟他说：“谢谢你救我，
You have given me freedom.
给了我自由。
Whatever you want, I will do for you.
不管你要什么，我都可以帮你实现愿望。
You can use me all the time. You can ask me for anything. I will make it for you.
你只要需要东西，你都可以问我，我一定会让它成真。
But there is one condition.
但有一个条件，
If you don't use me anytime, I will eat you up."
如果说呢，你没有每次呢都用我，都想到我，然后使用我，那我一定呢会把你吃掉。
So Aladdin thought to himself, Oh, I'm so lucky. I can use him all the time, and he's a lot of power. He can do many things.
那阿拉丁这时候就想说啊，我真的太幸运了。那我有了这个，我要什么就有什么。
So he agreed to accept this condition.
所以他同意。
He will use the giant all the time.
那他同意，就是他每一次只要需要什么，他都会找这个巨人。
But the giant said again, "Be careful. If you don't use me any time, I will eat you up."
但是这个巨人还是再次的提醒他，如果呢你没有想到我，然后用我，我还是把你吃掉。
But Aladdin said, I will use you all the time. Don't worry.
阿拉丁就说没问题，没问题，就是我一定会用你的，放心。
So he started by telling him, "I want a big house for me to live in."
他开始第一个，他就说我要一个大的房子。
Immediately, the giant flicked his finger, and there was a big house.
这时候呢，这个大巨人他就一弹指，就一个大的房子出现了。
Aladdin was shocked. He thought it would take a few months for the giant to build the house.
这时候阿拉丁他很惊讶，因为他想说应该会要好几个月才会盖好房子。
But it was very fast. He flicked his finger, and there was the house.
但居然是弹指之间，然后就出现这栋房子。
So he had to ask for something else, otherwise the giant would eat him.
然后他就想说啊，我赶快要问下一个问题，不然我就会被吃掉了。
So he told the giant, "I want a bridge across this little river."
然后接着他就说，那我要一座桥，可以帮我过河。
So the giant flicked his finger, and there was a bridge.
然后同样的一弹指就出现了一座桥。
Aladdin then said, "I want beautiful garden."
然后接着呢，阿林就说，那我要一个很漂亮的一个花园。
Suddenly, the giant flicked his finger, and there was a beautiful garden.
然后接着呢，才一弹指就出现了一个花园。
Aladdin was very shocked. He said, "Oh, I cannot stop. I have to ask him all the time."
他就想说，哦天哪，就是他很惊讶，然后他没有办法就是停止，然后继续问。
He was warned that if he stopped, the giant would eat him.
他想到如果他不继续问的话呢，要求这个巨人，那他就会被吃掉。
So he asked for a beautiful forest around his house.
所以接着他就说呢，我要一片美丽的森林。
Giant flicked his finger, and there was a beautiful garden.
又一弹指呢，就是这个森林就出现了。
Whatever he asked for, the giant flicked his finger and flicked his finger, and there was everything.
好，那就不管呢，他接下来问什么，这个巨人就一直不断的弹指，他要的东西也都出现了。
Many hours passed,
过了几个小时，
and the giant kept on producing things for Aladdin.
然后这个巨人呢，还是继续的不断的回应了这个阿拉丁的要求。
Aladdin could not stop, otherwise he would be eaten by the giant.
然后阿拉丁还是继续问，不然他会被吃掉。
Now it's very late at night, and Aladdin was very sleepy.
然后接着到了晚上了，阿拉丁很想睡了。
Soon he will go to sleep, and then he would be eaten by the giant.
那当他睡着之后，他就会被吃掉。
So Aladdin was thinking very hard, what can I do to keep the giant busy?
所以这时候呢，他就赶快的想方设法，然后希望呢，他可以想出一个法子，不会被吃掉。
Suddenly it clicked in his mind. He knew what to do.
突然间，他想到一个方法。
He told the giant, "You build a big, tall post."
然后他就跟这个家人说：“那你就盖一个很高的一个柱子。”
So the giant flicked his finger, and there was a tall post.
然后接着呢，这个巨人又一弹指，然后就出现了
Now
高的柱子。
Aladdin told the giant, "You climb up to the top.
他就跟这个巨人说：“你现在要爬到顶端。
When you get to the top, climb down to the bottom.
然后呢，当你爬到顶端之后呢，再爬下来。
When you get to the bottom, climb up to the top.
到下面之后呢，再上去。
Just climb up and down, up and down, up and down. Don't stop."
反正呢，你就是不断的上下这样子爬就是了。
So the giant had to climb up the post, and then came down, and then up and down. Aladdin was laughing. Now you are kept busy all the time.
然后接着呢，这个阿拉丁就很开心的看着他这样上下爬，然后就想说，哦，这样他都很忙。
So I will now go and sleep.
那反正他在忙，那我就先去睡觉。
And when I get up in the morning, I will call you down from the post.
那当我睡完醒来之后，我再把你从桌子上叫下来。
And I'll get you to make breakfast for me to eat.
然后我会请你再准备早餐给我吃。
And if I don't need to use you anymore, I will get you to climb up and down, up and down on the post.
反正当我没有办法再问你问题的时候，我就请你去爬这个柱子。
So in this way, Aladdin was able to live full of joy and happiness all the time.
通过这样的方式呢，就是阿拉丁他就可以用很快乐的方式生活着。
So this is a big lesson for us.
好，那这对我们来说是讲了一课。
You see, the giant represent our desire, our want.
好，那这边呢，这个巨人呢，它其实是反映了我们人的这个欲求。
We tell the giant what to do, and it will do things for us.
那我们告诉这个巨人说要做什么，那他就会回应我们什么。
So the giant represent our mind.
这个巨人呢，就是也是表达了我们这个心事。
We think what we want, and then we'll start to produce things for ourselves.
我们想要什么，那我们就会尽量做，然后去达成我们想要。
But you see, sometimes we want this, we want that, we want so many things, and our desire never stops.
那有时候会发现说，我想这个想那个也想那个，然后我们的思想呢就永远都不会停止。
And if our desire does not stop, then it becomes dangerous for us.
当我们这个欲望呢一直出现，然后没有办法满足的时候，就会开始呢产生问题。
The giant has to be kept busy all the time.
我们必须要让他呢保持忙碌。
So what do we do?
那我们可以怎么做呢？
The giant represent our mind.
这个巨人呢，就是我们的心事，
Thinking all the time.
永远都在想。
So we've got to find a way of keeping the mind busy, and then we can remain quiet.
我们要想一个方式呢，可以让这个心呢是忙碌的，然后我们自己可以安静下来。
We get the giant to climb up and down on this post.
所以我们就是一样，让他呢去爬这个柱子。
The giant is our mind.
这个呢，这个巨人呢，就是我们的心。
So we get the giant to climb up and down, up and down. It means we start to breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. We have to breathe all the time.
好，那呢，我们就是其实它就反映了我们的这个呼吸，我们的呼跟吸之间，就像这个巨人，他在往上爬，然后再爬下来，再爬上去，再爬下来。
And the secret to calm our mind is to follow the breathing all the time.
所以呢，那个我们让自己静下心来的秘密呢，就是跟随着这个呼吸的节奏。
So the giant represent our thought, our mind. We get the giant to climb up and down, up and down.
那代表我们心事的这个巨人呢，它往上爬，往下，再往上，就是像我们呼吸一呼一吸之间。
So the giant represent our thought. So we follow our breath, and we breathe in, breathe out, and just follow the breath.
所以同样的，它代表我们的想法。那我们一样，就是跟着呼吸，一呼一吸，就像跟着我们的想法一样。
So we think of something to keep the mind busy with our breath.
那我们就是让我们呢能够就是很专注的在这个呼吸上面，然后甚至忘掉在做这个动作。
So, for example, we can use what we use in Thailand, where we keep the mind busy all the time.
那老师要分享就是他们如何在泰国，然后用这样子可以让自己的心忙碌的方式。
Most people in Thailand are Buddhist.
很多呢泰国人都是佛教徒。
So we get them to repeat the word put, to, as we breathe in put, breathe out to.
所以他们在这个让他们这个心事忙碌的方式呢，就是在呼吸的时候，在吸进来空气的时候就念呼，然后呼出的时候就会念头。
So this keeps the mind concentrated on the breathing.
这时候呢，可以让心事忙碌，专注在这个呼吸的上面。
And we can use the words that is suitable in our own belief.
然后当然也可以根据自己个人的信念，然后可以自己就是一个这样念的字。
So for example, when I go to Christian countries, then I will tell them to repeat the word Yesu. As you breathe in, breathe out.
老师如果进入呢一个这个基督教的一个团体，那一样他就会让他们也是做这样的练习。那当然他就可以给他一个专注的一个方式，然后让他念耶稣，在呼气的时候。
So whatever religion you belong to, you can use your sacred word.
不管你是任何的宗教，你就可以用适合你的这个字词。
If you're Muslim, I go around Muslim countries and I tell them to repeat Allah.
那回教的国家呢，一样就会念阿拉，在呼吸之间。
And any religion, they will have their own word that they believe in.
那不同的宗教，他们有不同的这个他们的信仰，所以呢，也是可以根据这样做调整。
And when I go to United States, they said, no, you cannot use any words that belong to any religion. They won't allow it.
到了美国呢，他们就说他们不要任何跟宗教有关系的字词。
So I tell the same story and I tell them to repeat simply by counting 1, 1, 2, 2, up to 10, 10, and come back to 1. Just repeat this with your breathing.
那这时候呢，就会带他们，就是那你就念1、1、2、2，然后到10、10。
So they accept that. The government allows it to be used.
所以那他们的政府同意。
So you see, you can use any word just to keep your mind busy with your breathing.
所以在呼气吐纳之间呢，就是可以想一个方式，让你的心事是忙碌的。
In Thailand, if they don't want to use any word to follow your breathing, you just watch your breathing.
好，那如果像在泰国，如果有人他不想要念任何的字，那你可以就单纯的就是观察你自己的吐纳。
So many people, when they breathe in, they just feel the breath going into your nose.
所以感觉一下你在吸气的时候呢，空气进入到你的鼻子。
As you breathe out, you follow the air that is leaving your nose.
然后那这样你在呼气的时候呢，你就感受你的空气从鼻腔跑出来。
So if you don't believe in any religion, just concentrate on the breath going in, coming out, in and out.
好，那如果你没有任何的信仰，那你可以就是只观察在你的这个吸气跟呼气之间。
So I go everywhere and teach everybody, whether they're Muslims, Christians, and they all accept this.
那老师他就走了世界各地，然后到处去教这个方式，那大家也都认同。
I went to Arabia, where they do not allow people to talk about religion.
那老师有一次去到阿拉伯，那他们是不希望大家谈论宗教的。
When I went to Saudi Arabia, they called me for a big meeting.
那有一次老师到了阿拉伯，那他们打电话给老师，跟老师说要开会。
You are not allowed to talk about religion.
然后就跟他说，你不可以谈论宗教。
And especially you cannot touch on Islam because I'm not a Muslim.
特别的是呢，也不可以谈论关于就是伊斯兰的，因为老师不是穆斯林。
So I told them I'm not going to talk about religion.
所以老师就跟他们说，我不会讨论宗教。
I talk about the life of people, yes.
我讨论就是人们的生活方式。
But I won't talk about religion.
但不会讨论宗教。
So they allowed me to speak.
所以他们就同意让老师演讲。
But they warned me they're going to have 15 religious police listening to me all around the room.
那在那个会议的这个当中呢，总共有15位就是警察，然后他们是注意看你有没有讲到任何关于宗教的内容。
If I make any mistake, you'll be arrested immediately.
如果呢你不小心讲错话，马上就被逮捕。
And normally, they would even sacrifice our life.
然后有时候呢，他可能就会夺了你的命。
But at that time, I was a member of Parliament of Thailand.
但是那时候呢，老师他是那个泰国的这个国会里面的人员。
So they said, because you are a member of Parliament, all we will do is to chase you out of the country.
然后呢，因为呢你是泰国重要的这个官方人员，所以呢我们只会把你遣送出去，我们不会杀了你。
So I talked to the audience for 3 hours.
老师那时候分享了3个小时。
All the religious police, they were sitting all around the room. They were watching me.
那些宗教警察都坐在下面看着老师。
But they did not arrest me.
但是他没有逮捕老师。
Because I did not touch on religion.
因为没有谈到任何关于宗教的议题。
But I talked about science.
分享了科学。
And they're very happy with that.
他们也很开心。
So you see, this is the way we teach. We get the children to breathe in, breathe out. That is the giant breathing in, breathing out.
所以在引导孩子做这样的呼吸冥想的时候呢，也是带孩子告诉他这个故事，然后告诉他说，哦，就是让你的这个吸气跟吐气，它就像是这个巨人，他要很忙碌的上下爬这样。
And in our school, we use what we call silent sitting using the light.
好，那在学校呢就有这样子一个练习，就是静坐，然后使用光来静坐。
Because our children, some are Muslims, some are Christians, some are Buddhists. Most of them they are Buddhist.
那学校的学生组成里面很多是佛教徒，那也有基督教徒跟回教徒。
So we use the light as the means to concentrate the mind.
所以呢，为了让心能够专注，就使用光来引导学生。
So can we just sit quietly? I will use this light as a means of get you to concentrate.
好，那现在就是大家呢可以练习一下，就是先静静坐着，那老师会引导让大家就是只要冥想这个光。
Okay, sit with your back straight.
那在坐着的同时呢，你的背打直。
No. Just quickly, just to show you what we can do.
很快的告诉大家怎么做，那就是背打直。
Okay, now start breathing in, breathing out slowly.
开始缓慢的吸气，然后吐气。
And close your eyes a little bit so that you don't need to watch anybody else.
然后眼睛呢稍微闭合，不用看着别人。
And now as you breathe in, breathe out,
吸气，
you watch your breath.
吸吐的过程当中，专注你的吐纳。
In our school, we get the children to repeat an ancient language, Sanskrit.
在我们学校呢，我们会让孩子附送一个旧的梵文。
So this is what we use in our school. We get the children to repeat the word so.
在学校我们会还让孩子念 so。
As you breathe in, so. As you breathe out.
吸的时候呢，孩子们会念 so。吐的时候呢，孩子会念 hum。
Soham in Sanskrit means I am that.
然后在梵文里面呢 ，soham 的意思就是呢，I am that， 这就是我。
So it's nothing to do with any religion.
这跟任何的宗教都没有关系。
So as you breathe in, breathe out, just repeat the word So, so you breathe in, you breathe out.
吸的时候念嗦，吐的时候念hum。
Keep on repeating that.
我不断的重复。
So the mind will quiet down, to stop all other thoughts.
这时候呢，你的心会慢慢静下来，不想其他的事。
Continue doing it for a little while.
我们持续一段时间。
Now, imagine this light in our heart.
那现在呢，感受一下一道光在你的心中。
And let us send out the light to everybody who's sitting in this room.
慢慢的呢，把这个光从心中发散出来，到四周。
We become one with the same light.
跟这个光是融合一起的。
Spread this light out now until it covers the whole world.
让这个光发散出去，然后直到它照遍这整个世界。
Let all the peoples of this world be filled with light, with love and peace.
让这个光能够洒满所有这个世界的人，让他感受到爱跟和平。
So now you can open your eyes.
现在你可以慢慢打开眼睛。
In our school, of course, we sit much longer, but this is just to show you how to get the children to concentrate on their breathing.
那在学校的时候呢，这个静坐的时间会维持更久。那老师刚刚示范的是，我们如何呢能够让学生静下心来
You
专
can
注。
call it silent sitting using the light.
那我们就可以使用这个光，然后来引导孩子静坐。
But I think Loraine may explain it more.
那后面呢，Loraine 老师会再介绍更多。
And I think she's now ready to continue. So I will stop here. Thank you very much.
So good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
Oh, Anne, I can speak to you in Thai, but I can't speak to you in Chinese. I'm very sorry.
老师他可以用泰文，就是跟大家互动，但是中文就没办法了。
But I'm very happy to be here with you. It's been a long time since I've been in Taiwan.
那很开心呢，今天能够来到台湾，距离上次来台湾已经是很长一段时间。
So we're going to go on a little journey, and it's discovering the heart of teaching through education in human values, which we also call Educare, and I'll explain that.
好，那呢有一个词叫做 Educare， 是这个在讨论这个人文价值，它是如何呢在这个教育的上面所使用的，帮助我们能够找回这个心。
Now, we've heard a lot about singing, and it's the afternoon, and it's difficult to concentrate, so I think we'll start with a song.
OK， 那老师呢？因为下午大家坐着比较久，需要一段时间专注，那我们就是用唱歌的方式开始。
But again, I'm sorry, I can't sing in Chinese.
那同样的，就是老师没办法唱中文歌，所以就只能唱英文。
This is a song called Love All, Serve All.
这首歌呢，就是爱所有的人， 然后还有就是服务所有的人。
Will you sing with me?
Yes.
Yes? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Right. Take a lesson from the sun who shines his light on everyone, or the rain that falls on every single shore. No distinction of our race or the color of our face. Nature's gifts are there for all men, rich or poor. Love all, serve all. Understand that love and peace is what we need. Love all, serve all. In every single thought, word and deed. Before we go on, I think maybe you give the translation.
Okay. Do you want to sing and then I translate it wrong? Okay.
Okay. You take a lesson from the sun that shines his light on everyone.
那这个太阳呢，照亮着每个人，那它的光芒呢，就是照亮着每个人。我们从这边呢，可以学到一些，就是他的无私。
Or the rain that falls on every single shore.
还有雨呢，它是这么的无私的下在所有的这个海岸边。
No distinction of our race or the color of our face. Nature's gifts are there for all men, rich or poor.
无论我们的种族，然后我们脸的颜色，然后或者是呢贫或富，其实这个自然呢，它是给予所有的人。
Love all,
要爱所有，
serve
服
all.
务这个世界上面一切的众生。
Understand that love and peace is what we
了解
need.
我们需要的呢，就只有爱跟这个和平。
Love
要
all,
爱众生，
serve
服务
all.
众生。
In every single thought, word and
在
deed.
我们的所想跟我们所做的一切，都是爱跟服务众生。
Bear all and do nothing.
好，那我们呢，忍受忍耐一切，
Hear all and say nothing.
然后我们听，然后不要说。
Give all and take nothing in return.
我们能够给我们所能给的一切，那我们就是不求回报。
Love is giving and forgiving.
Love 爱就是给予跟这个原谅。
Self is getting and forgetting.
自我呢，它是得到，然后呢忘记。
Serve all in the spirit of pure love.
好，我们用呢这个真爱纯真的这个爱呢来服务一切。
It's the same love also.
然后接下来下面就是同样刚刚的。
Can you sing with me?
好，那我们现在大家在一起唱一次。
Okay, let's go. Take a lesson from the sun that shines his light on everyone, or the rain that falls on every single shore. No distinction of our race or the color of our face. Nature's gifts are there for all men, rich or poor. Love all, serve all. Understand that love and peace is what we need. Love all, serve all. In every single thought, word and deed. Bear all and do nothing. Hear all and say nothing. Give all and take nothing in return. Love is giving and forgiving. Self is getting and forgetting. Serve all in the spirit of pure love. Love all, serve all. Understand that love and peace is what we need. I don't know if any of you are familiar with the work of Maxim Gorky. He was a very famous novelist.
那不知道大家有没有人知道这个 Maxim Gorky 这个人
From Russia.
他是来自俄国的一位这个作家。
And he believed in the inherent worth and potential of the human person.
好，那相信的呢是一个人他所传承的这个价值，然后还有呢这个人的这个潜力。
He was a very great speaker.
他是一个非常棒的演说家。
And he would go all over giving talks.
他是到处呢去演讲。
And people would really be very motivated when he spoke.
那他每次的演讲都非常激励人心。
And he would talk about the advances of science and technology.
他都会就是跟大家演讲，然后讨论呢现今最先进的这个科学还有科技。
He would say, "Isn't it marvelous that man can fly through the air like a bird?"
他说：“哎，你不觉得这实在是很伟大吗？那个我们人啊，就可以像鸟一样这样子在天空上飞。”
And he would say, "Isn't it marvelous that man can do what the fish are supposed to do and swim under the sea like a fish?"
然后我们人能够像鱼一样呢，在这个海底呢游泳，这不是很棒吗？
And everyone would listen, spellbound.
就会听。
But one day he was in a very rural area.
有一天呢，他来到了一个穷乡僻壤。
And after he'd finished speaking, an old man put up his hand.
好，在他演讲结束之后呢，有一个老人家举手。
He said, "Sir, can I ask you a question?"
说我可以问您一个问题吗？
Gorky said, "Certainly."
Gorky 就说可以。
The man said, "Sir, what you have said is very true. It is indeed marvelous that man can fly through the air like a bird."
这个老人家说：“你说的没错，就是的确人可以像鸟一样这样穿越天空。”
It is indeed marvelous that man can swim under the sea like a fish.
同样的，也可以像鱼这样子在大海里面游泳。
But my question, sir,
但是我的问题是
is when will man do what man is supposed to do and live in this world in peace and harmony?
好，那我的问题是，那我们人什么时候可以真的做我们人该做的事，然后在这个地球上呢是和平的共处？
I don't think that Gorky had the answer.
好，那我不觉得这个作家 Gorky 有答案。
If he had the answer, we would not be in the position we're in today.
如果他有答案呢，我们现在也不会坐在这里，然后依然面对着这些问题。
So I would like to just talk a little bit. Dr. Jumsai has talked very elaborately about the situation, but I'd like to just talk a little bit about the situation in the world and why we need a program like this.
好，那我呢现在就是要来分享一下，目前现在我们在世界上面对的挑战，然后还有学校里面他们目前正在做什么这个教学的计划。
Okay, it's what I call global crisis.
好，那这个呢，老师把它称之为这个全球危机。
Sorry, it's not straight. On one side, we will see what man has done to man.
好，那一边呢，我们会看到就是人跟人之间他们就是互相做了什么。
On the other side, we'll see what man has done to the environment.
那另外一方面呢，我们会看人呢对于环境又做了什么。
War.
然后第一个是战争。
At any one time, there are maybe 40 wars going on in the world.
那现在可能就是大概有40个战争正在发生。
In many places we've never even heard of.
然后这可能是在我们都从来没有听过的地方。
We have poverty, we have starvation.
然后我们有贫穷，然后我们还有饥饿。
We're nearly at 7 billion, so we have so many people in the world and the resources are running out.
对，那现在已经快要70亿的人口，那我们的资源也几乎都快耗尽。
Actually, the resources are running out because it's in the hands of just a few people, all the riches in the world.
那至于这个资源耗竭问题，其实它现在有很多是少数的人在掌控大量的资源。
We have overpopulation.
我们有人口过剩的问题
，unemployment,
和人们失业、
abuse, violence,
虐待跟暴力，
gender inequality,
还有性别的不平等，
corruption,
然后还有这个政府的腐败、
materialism,
物质主义，
the list goes on.
那还有很多很多。
On the other side, we see what we're doing to the environment.
另外一边呢，我们会看到的是人对于环境。
We have what we call climate change. We can't even just say global warming anymore.
那我们会说这个是气象变迁，已经不只是这个全球暖化了。
I came to Taiwan to enjoy the sunshine, and now you have this rain for 1 week.
我是来台湾享受太阳光的，结果没想到居然一整个礼拜都在下雨。
It's not your fault. Deforestation. We're cutting down all the forests.
那我们还有森林滥垦滥伐的问题。
I remember once hearing Dr. Jumsai saying that when he was a boy, if I'm not incorrect, Thailand was 70% forest. Now it's only about 30% forest.
那之前那个 Dr. Jumsai 他有分享说，泰国之前大概70%都是树木，就是都是树林，结果现在几乎都已经滥垦滥伐。
Pollution.
污染。
Depletion of fossil fuels.
大家过度的使用这个石油。
Rubbish.
还有很多垃圾。
This is a huge, huge problem.
这是一个很大的问题。
We think just throwing it into the right bins, we're doing our duty.
然后我们以为说呢，我们今天分类，把东西都分到不同的这个桶子里面，我们就已经做好我们该做的。
I think that Taiwan is more advanced than Thailand in this. In Thailand, it's terrible. Thailand uses the most plastic bags in the world.
那老师是觉得台湾已经就是台湾呢比泰国的状况还要好。那泰国的这个垃圾袋的使用量实在太高。
And each plastic bag takes about 1,000 years to disintegrate.
那每个塑胶袋呢，它大概是需要1000年的时间才能够消失。
So this is one thing we have to really teach our children.
这是我们需要传达给孩子的。
In the Pacific Ocean, there is an island twice the size of Texas that is just plastic.
好，那在太平洋上面有个岛呢，它大概是那个德州的2倍大，都是这个塑胶的这个垃圾。
As a result of us doing so much to the environment, we're having more earthquakes.
然后呢，我们还有地震、
tsunamis,
海啸、
tornadoes, volcanoes,
然后还有这个
and of
火
course
山、
water shortage.
还有缺水的问题。
So this is the world that we're living in now with all these problems.
这是我们现在所居住的世界，有着这么多的这些问题。
I would like to look a little bit at what are the challenges that are facing the youth today.
那我们现在要来看的呢，是我们之后我们下一代的年轻人他们要面临的。
I think in Taiwan you don't again have such serious problems as in many other countries.
那在台湾可能没有比其他的国家来面临这些问题。
And this is because of all of you as teachers.
那可能是因为在座的大家几乎很多都是老师。
That you are helping the children grow up in a more moderate way, I think.
那你们就是在帮助就是接下来下一代的孩子呢，是用更理想的方式呢去学习。
Just go through this. Sorry. This is very interesting. This is what Gandhi said, Mahatma Gandhi. The earth provides enough to satisfy every man's need, but not every man's greed.
那甘地呢，他曾经说过，就是我们的地球呢，它是给予我们足够的资源来满足每个人的需求，但是它并不足以满足每个人的贪。
So, what are the problems that youth are facing today?
那我们现在的年轻人到底面临什么样的困难呢
And as I said, maybe some of these problems are not so serious yet in Taiwan.
那很多我们讨论到的问题，可能目前在台湾还没有那么严重。
This is a very big problem in many countries in Asia, especially teenage pregnancy.
好，那第一个呢是这个青少年的这个怀孕，那在亚洲很多地方是很严重的一个问题。
In Thailand, many girls don't finish school.
很多泰国的女生她们没有办法就是完成学业。
Teen suicide, and this comes from pressure at school. A lot of this.
青少年因为学校的压力关系呢自杀。
Alcohol.
喝酒。
So we can see these are some of the problems that are facing the youth today.
我们可以看到这个图片上很多是年轻一代所面临的。
I've been in many countries around the world, and I've asked teachers, I've asked parents, what are problems? And I think one of the big problems that we are facing is the media.
那老师呢？他在这个世界很多地方旅游过程当中，他都会问家长说，到底这个问题会是什么？那很多人反映是目前的这个媒体。
This is some research that was done by Loraine, and it's that children have 5,000 hours of TV before reaching kindergarten.
那在那个Loraine的一个研究里面，他说到孩子呢，在上幼稚园之前就已经可以有5000个小时的时间都在电视前。
Why?
为什么呢？
It's the chipster babysitter.
Yes. TV is the best babysitter.
对，因为电视它是最便宜的保姆。
I was given a book last time I went to England, and the book was Guess Who's Bringing Them Up?
老师上次有一次去那个英国，然后他那时候呢就有个问题，大家猜猜看，就是到底是谁在照顾我们的这个小孩呢？
And it was all about the influence of television.
其实都是这个电视传媒的这些。
And the values that we want our children to have, are those the values that are on television?
那是不是我们要给孩子的这些价值观都是在媒体上面呢？
This Bill Clinton said, he said, we know that by the time the typical American child reaches the age of 18, he or she has seen 200,000 dramatized acts of violence and 40,000 dramatized murders.
好，那我们可以看到，就是 Bill Clinton 他之前有分享，那他讲的是关于，当孩子呢，就是美国的孩子，他们达到了这个18岁的时候，那他呢可能已经看过了大概20万起的这个暴力，然后还有大概这个谋杀。
What is that doing to the subconscious mind of the child?
那请问这样子呢，会对于他的潜意识产生什么样的影响？
If we looked at the diagram that Dr. Jumsai was showing today about the subconscious mind, what goes in does not come out.
那我们可以看到刚刚早上老师分享的那个图表，其实不管我们在怎么吸收外界的，它都是已经储存在我们的潜意识里。
So this is another research that they show that children who play violent games are more likely to have aggressive delinquent behavior.
那这个呢，现在大家看到这个研究，它讲的是孩子呢，如果接触越多的这个暴力的这个游戏，那同样的他自己也会本身有这样子的行为。
Familiar?
感觉很熟悉嘛，这样的画面。
So, what are the global challenges? Again, I said when I go around the world, I ask teachers and I ask people in the audience, what are the challenges?
所以当老师到世界各地的时候，会问大家，那我们现在面临的挑战到底有哪些？
This is one of the big challenges, and I believe Taiwan also, this is a challenge, is the breakdown of the family unit.
那现在第一个呢，就是这个 家庭的结构，那它也是一个目前有的一个问题。
Children growing up with one parent.
那很多呢孩子他就是单亲。
Very often being brought up by grandparents.
很多是祖父母带大。
Encroachment of media culture through internet, TV, etc.
那他们等于说被这个媒体的这个文化，还有这个网络跟电视，等于说局限住了。
Decline of traditional customs and values.
然后呢，慢慢的失去呢他们传统的文化跟价值。
Social, racial, and religious disharmony.
那我们在社会、种族还有宗教上面呢，有很多的就是纷争。
Now I think this is one that is very appropriate for here. Academically driven education.
那在教育上面呢，只重这个学术。
At-risk students, teenage pregnancy, drugs, and delinquent behavior.
那会发现说，越来越多的这个青少年怀孕、用药，然后还有很多这个不良的行为产生。
With destruction of the natural environment, water shortages, etc.
破坏这个自然环境，缺水，然后污染。
Again, this one I think is appropriate here. Disparity between urban and rural communities.
那同样的有我们这个城市，然后还有乡村的这个两极化。
Materialism.
这个物质主义。
Corruption.
这个腐败。
And a general lack of values.
而且普遍呢缺乏这个价值。
So I haven't put anything for Taiwan, because you have to decide yourself what the challenges are.
那老师呢还没有放任何的字在这上面，因为我们在座各位大家需要一起去思考，那台湾面临的这个挑战是什么？
But now let us start looking at what is the solution.
好，那我们先一起来看，
是
解决有可能用教育来解决吗？
Any kind of education?
任何的教育模式吗？
Obviously not.
好像不是这样。
Otherwise, we wouldn't have this situation.
如果是这样的话，我们现在就不会面临这些问题。
Now, your teachers, I'm going to ask you questions. You have to answer. Wake up.
好，那现在大家赶快起床，然后老师呢要询问大家。
Okay, first question. As a teacher, now I'm not thinking these beautiful ideas that maybe you have, but as a practical teacher, right? What are the goals that are expected of you in your school? What is number one goal?
好，身为教育现场的老师们，那在教育上面，你觉得第一个首要的目标，教学目标会是什么？
Teach children to be a good person.
Okay, very good.
有人谈到，就是呢，主要目标是把孩子培养成为一个好人。
Is that what is expected from the education authorities?
这个是这个教育当局呢认可的吗？
I don't care.
No, I know. But you're from an alternative school. But I'm thinking generally now, before we go into idealism, what are the problems that face most teachers in most government schools? What are the challenges?
好，那大家想想看，因为在座有很多是就是境内学校的老师们，那其实如果是现在教育上面，大家一般老师所面临的，就是针对教育上面的目标，然后我们觉得面临的问题或觉得有冲突的那个点是什么？
Thank you. Number one.
所以一般呢，教育它的目标通常就是，孩子要好的成绩。
What else?
那还有没有什么？
Okay.
Yeah.
They didn't see my PowerPoint.
对，他们两位没有看过老师的那个 PPT， 可是已经知道。然后第二个就是进到好大学。
You see, it's universal.
这个是有点类似全球都是同样的教育目标。
Get a good job. Yeah.
再来是有一份好的工作。
Yeah, maybe we want them to get on well with others that will help them get a good job.
然后再来就是可以跟其他人就是和平共处。
have some self-confidence, yes.
有自信。
But number one, as teachers, what do we all the time? Do our children get good grades?
好，那我们为了让孩子有好的成就，我们做什么？
If they don't, the parents go.
然后如果他们没有好的成绩，那
The
家长就
principal
找上
calls
来，
you to the office.
然后这个校长就会把你找去询问，
Why don't they get good grades?
他们怎么考不好呢？
Now let us look a little bit at traditional education. Plus points of present-day education.
好，那接着我们来看一下，就是现在的教育还有哪些？
Definitely, more children worldwide are given an education. This is absolutely fact. You look at UNESCO's figures, it's increasing all the time.
好，现在这个正向比较好的呢，这个点呢，就是越来越多的孩子呢，他们都可以获得教育。
Higher literacy rates, more children can read and write.
好，那我们有更好的这个识字率，
More students go to university.
大部分的学生都上大学，
Better educational
有
facilities.
更好的教育措施。
There's a funny one here. I remember some years ago, the government in Thailand wanted all schools to have computers.
然后几年前呢，泰国呢，他们的官方就是希望学校都能够有这个电脑，设置电脑。
So very generously, they sent computers to all the schools.
所以呢，他们就是开始在学校装电脑。
Unfortunately, some schools didn't have electricity, but that's
很可惜，有的学校它没有电力来源，
so we have to be sensible.
就对学校没有电力来源，但是同样的官方还是硬要把电脑送过去这样。
More information available.
然后我们可以更方便的接触在外在的资讯。
Now, I think this is a very tricky one. To me, it's like a knife.
那其实就算我们更容易接收外在资讯，其实它也有可能比较不好的一方面。
The knife in the hands of a surgeon can save a life.
那你想想看，你现在如果是一个就是要动手术的，帮人家动手术的医生，然后你手上握着这把刀，
The same knife in the hands of a robber can take a life.
你的手上的这把刀，它可以拯救一个生命，但同样的，它可能也可以夺走一个生命。
So too much information, like everything can be found in the internet.
那现在目前呢，虽然大家都觉得网络很便利，但是其实也有可能它提供太多的资讯。
What are some of the minus points of education?
好，那教育所面临比较不好的，
Too much emphasis on academic achievement.
好，那第一个呢，就是太着重这个学术方面的这个成就，
Too much emphasis on curriculums and exams.
好，太多的关注都是在考试，然后还有学习的这个课程课纲上面。
Do you agree with me?
Yes.
Not enough emphasis on character development.
好，并不会注重孩子呢，他们个体的发展。
Not enough emphasis on the teacher being a good example.
好，不够重视老师呢，要如何成为一个好的模范。
To me, this is number one.
好，那对于老师来说，这个是首要。
Emphasis on information, not transformation.
那教育呢，反而着重在资讯的传达，而不是如何做改变。
So we have to really look at our education system.
所以我们需要呢，再仔细回去反思我们的这个教育。
I know it's out of many of our hands. We're teachers, we're in the system, we can't change things on a big scale. But in our classrooms, we can change things.
好，即便在比较大的这个环境底下，我们可能好像没办法马上改变教育，但是我们可以从教室做起。
So modern education, it teaches us to know that a lot of information.
好，那我们现在的教育呢，告诉我们，就是我们有很多很多的这个外
To
在的
know
资讯，
how.
然后告诉我们要学习如何知道，
But it doesn't teach us to know oneself.
但是它并不会教我们如何知道我们自己，了解我们自己。
And this is what I think we're here for today.
那这也是为什么现在我们会在这里。
I really like this quote very much. Education today is a process of filling the mind with the contents of books, emptying the contents in the examination hall, and returning home empty-headed.
好，那现在的教育呢，就是它是一个不断的填压我们的这个心灵，然后把所有的这个书里面的东西都想要一直不断的灌注到我们心里面，然后。
Oh, sorry.
然后呢，我们呢就会考试，然后但是我们考试，大家离开了这个市场之后回家，结果呢脑袋都是空空的。
I was in an aeroplane going to India one day, and I read a newspaper, and it was from Mumbai.
那老师有一次呢，他就是飞往印度的路上，飞机上啊，然后他看到一篇那个报道。
And it talked about a kindergarten that everybody wanted to send their children to, a very exclusive kindergarten.
那个报道是在讲呢，大家都想要把孩子送去一个幼稚园。
I'm sure very expensive.
一定很贵的一个幼稚园。
And these children, they're 3 years old, 4 years old, they have exams.
然后小孩才3、4岁，然后就要面临考试。
It's madness.
就是很疯狂。
Anyway, they published a letter that they sent to one of the parents.
那他们呢发表了一封信，然后要寄给家长。
The child was rejected. He was not accepted into the school.
那其中呢有个家长，他就是写了一个信，说他的孩子呢被拒绝进入到这个学校。
And in the letter it said, never, never try to enter your child in this school again. Your child has failed.
他说呢，绝对呢，不要呢让你的孩子进入到这个学校，你的孩子已经输了。
Have we gone completely mad?
大家会不会觉得我们好像已经疯了？
We are putting a label on a 3-year-old child saying they failed.
我们呢帮这个3岁的孩子贴标签，说他已经失败了。
And this is what our education system has become.
那我们现在的教育就已经开始走向这样子的状态。
Please forgive me, anybody here who's head of education.
所以如果在座有这个教育当局的头的话，那要原谅老师。
But I think we all agree that some changes have to be made.
对，但是我们一定都会同意，就是我们要开始做一些转化。
Otherwise, you wouldn't be here today.
不然呢，您就是不会坐在这儿。
So what is Educare?
好，那我们今天谈呢，什么是 Educare 呢？
Educare comes from the Latin word educare.
那 Educare 这个字呢，是从拉丁文这个 Educare 来的。
This means to elicit or draw out from within.
它的意思呢，就是要从我们的这个人的心中，然后来引导出某一个东西。
This indicates that knowledge and goodness are within, and they need to be brought out.
然后它指的是呢，我们人本身就含有这样子的知识，而且还有这样子的好良善，那我们要怎么样把它引导出来？
And this is the philosophy that we believe in, that it is within the child, but we have to draw it out, we have to bring it out from the child.
所以看教育也同样的，孩子呢本身就有这样子的特质，那老师怎么来把它引出来？
There are 2 aspects to education.
我们看教育有2面，
And they're both important,
都很重要，
but they have to be balanced.
而且需要平衡。
We have the material education.
我们看比较物质层面的。
This brings out the latent knowledge pertaining to the physical world.
好，那它就是把这个知识呢，这个物质世界的知识引导出
It
来。
involves the head and it involves the hands.
它跟我们的脑跟我们的手有关。
Reading, writing, livelihood, name and fame.
然后读写啊，生活啊，我们的这个名声。
The development of reason, the development of intelligence, bring out knowledge pertaining to the physical world.
好，我们这个理性思考的发展，然后我们这个智力的发展，那把所有这个物质世界的知识，就是都学习到，然后学习教育这个生活如何生活。
So education for living.
所以就是教育如何生活。
But it needs to be balanced.
那同样的，我们需要有另外一个平衡。
So we have values education.
所以我们有这个价值的教
Or
育，
character education, whatever you want to call it.
或者是性格的教育。
And this brings out the inherent goodness in man.
那它可以呢帮人呢，让他可以发展出他人本的这个善。
It involves the head, the heart, and the hands.
所以它不只有头跟手而已，还有心。
And makes man good. We have compassion, truth, love, all the values, safeties.
让人呢变好，它包含了这个包容、真诚，然后还有爱，跟非常神圣的这个精神性。
Development of intuition.
好，然后还有我们这个直觉的发展。
Development of discrimination.
还有这个分辨。
No, I mean discrimination in the highest sense.
能够分辨。
Brings morality and spiritual knowledge.
然后呢，能够带入这个伦理，然后还有我们的这个精神。
Education for life.
所以他教的呢是这个一辈子的。
Okay. This is from UNESCO. They wrote, well, they've written a lot about education, but this was from a report called The Treasure Within.
好，这个 UNESCO 这个世界遗产组织呢，它写了一个关于就是我们人本的这个宝藏。
And it's very interesting because it's very similar to what we're talking about.
好，那它跟我们现在要谈论的是有一些雷同的。
It's based on 4 pillars.
好，那它是主要是站在4个角度上面来看。
Learning to know.
好，第一个呢就是学习、了解、认识。
Now, what does that mean to you? Learning to know.
好，那这是什么意思呢？
Come on.
学习
Bill?
要分享吗？
Yes.
learn how to think. Is that what you mean?
Learning how to think. Yeah, it can mean many things. To me, it means that, and it means learning how to learn.
就是学习如何学。
How do we teach children today? We spoon feed them with information.
好，那我们要教孩子是学习如何学习，因为现在可能我们就是好像把很多我们要教的东西就一直喂给他们，但他们可能不知道如何学。
If the children have the tools, they can learn themselves.
如果孩子呢，他有方法，那他就可以自学。
The second one, learning to do.
好，第二个呢是学着怎么做。
What is that?
这是什么意思呢？
Come on, you're all teachers.
大家都是老师，我赶快回答。
Learning to do, what does that mean?
They have to know how to use the tool or any kind of information to achieve what they want to do.
So putting it into practice, right?
Yeah.
Learning and learning how to do things.
Yeah.
所以学习实做，就把他学到的东西，然后实际应用，学习实做。
You can interpret it in many ways, but I'm just trying to get you to think.
大家可能会有不同的解释，老师现在只是希望大家可以开始思考。
Learning to live together.
好好学习一起生活。
This is probably one of the most important things that we have to teach everyone in the world. We're not able to live together.
这个可能是我们需要特别迫切需要教育的，因为现在很明显大家都不知道怎么样在这个世界上面
It seems an extraordinary thing that we cannot accept that people believe in different things.
就是我们现在发现这个世界很多人他没办法接受别人跟我的想法信念不一样。
if we are strong enough or confident enough, it doesn't matter what other people think. We have to live together and accept other people's differences.
即便我们自己呢是很有自信的，我们也要学习怎么样跟其他的人一起生活互动。
And I think this is the wonderful thing about children, especially little children. They don't look at the outside. They don't look at the differences. They just feel.
然后这可以反映在小孩身上。其实小孩呢，他是不会对外在有任何的排斥或惧怕的。
How many of you teach small children?
在场有教小孩的老师吗？
Oh, you mean
Nobody?
Grade 1 or grade 2?
Like kindergarten, grade 1, grade 2, like
幼
that.
稚园1到3年级的。
Yes.
幼稚园的老师和1到3年级。
Grade 2
I
and
teach grade 1 and grade 2.
Okay. So you'll know what I mean, that acceptance that little kids have.
所以你们可以发现说，其实小孩他的接受度非常高。
And then learning to be. Now, what do you think UNESCO means by learning to be?
好，那这个 UNESCO 谈到的这个就是学习，这个成为人，这个是什么意思呢？
What does that mean to you? Hello? Huh? Becoming yourself. Yes. Putting into practice. Being. Yeah.
就是成为一个人，然后做你自己。
So I think this is interesting that this is the 4 pillars of UNESCO.
所以这个是 UNESCO 发表的。
These are our children at school.
这些是学校的学校的。
Education should inculcate in students the spirit of self-reliance and self-confidence.
好，那学校教育呢是需要培养呢孩子他们自我的这个等于说自己自信，还有自己依赖自己的这个力量。
Now again, I want the early education teachers to think about this.
好，那我们希望大家一起来思考说，怎么样可以提升孩子的这个自我的这个认度，然后还有他的自信。
The first thing in life is self-reliance.
好，第一件事情就是如何的这个自立呢？
So we teach children how to do things themselves, how to tie their shoelaces, how to button their shirts, how to go to the toilet and things like that.
所以我们要教孩子，比如说小孩一开始就是教他怎么样扣扣子、绑鞋带、怎么去厕所。
Second is self-confidence.
然后给他自信。
From being self-reliant, we become self-confident.
好，他能够自己完成自己做的事情之后，他会开始有自信。
The third is self-sacrifice. Maybe this is something that is not emphasized enough.
然后接着呢是大家比较少谈到的这个自我的牺牲。
The fourth is self-realization.
然后第4个我们谈到的是自我实现。
With self-realization, life finds its final fulfillment.
那有了这个自我实现呢，就是他就能实践他的这个
So
生
it's
命。
like step by step.
所以这是一步一步的。
We can see here.
好，那这里有这4个阶段。
This is what happens every day in the Sathya school in the morning.
那每天早上呢 ，Sathya School 的孩子呢就会静坐。
You was mentioning this morning that we get up early today.
今天早上郑同僚老师有谈到说，那个学校的孩子很早要起床。
For us, it was very late.
对他们来说，那其实已经不早了。
At school, we get up at 5 or 4:45.
对，早上大概是5点钟起床。
We meet in the prayer room at 6 o'clock.
好，然后跟家长们是6点就碰面。
Something's happened, sorry. Okay. So, we need an education system that is based on love, trust, and cooperation.
那我们希望我们的教育是建筑在爱、信任，然后还有合作上。
Do you agree with me?
Yes.
Okay, go on. We need an education system that emphasizes the teacher's example.
那我们同样需要教育呢，是强调老师的这个模范。
Yes?
Yes.
Okay. Now I'd like to just tell you a little story that touched me very much. It's a true story.
好，那老师现在要分享故事。
And it's about a teacher and students in America.
然后它是关于这个美国的一个师生。
Now, how many of you been to New York?
那有多少人去过纽约呢？
A few of you. There are some very difficult areas in New York.
纽约有一些比较不好处理的一些
Places like Brooklyn, the Bronx, Harlem, places where there's children grow up and there's a lot of violence, drugs, alcohol, and so.
有几个区域呢，他们的这个饮酒，然后用药，还有暴力的问题是比较严重。
Well, this is a true story that happened in one. I'm not sure. I think it was Brooklyn, but I'm not sure.
这可能是在Brooklyn， 但是老师不太确定确切是在哪。
There was a group of students, undergraduates from university in New York.
那有一群纽约大学的学生，大学部的学生呢，
who wanted to do some research.
他们要做个研究。
And the research was to show what has the greatest effect, genes or the environment.
这个研究是要看，就是到底呢哪一个影响力比较大呢？是基因还是环境？
It's the old argument.
这个是常常从以前到现在大家常听到的讨论。
So they went to a school that was in a very rough area.
他们去到了一间学校，那个学校所处的位置就是比较暴力的。
They started to do research.
然后他们就开始研究。
They took one class.
挑一个班级。
And they recorded all the students in the class.
然后他们就开始录影。
And a lot of them were Hispanic, black, all different races.
那大部分呢，他那个班上的种族呢，就是来自不同地方，很多西班牙裔的，然后还有很多是黑人的。
Many of their parents were either in prison or drug addicts, alcoholics.
那他们的父母啊，很多可能是用药成瘾，然后不然就是饮酒，或者是在监狱。
So they studied this class for a while.
所以呢，他们大概花了一段时间来研究这个班。
Then after some time, the undergraduates graduated.
然后直到这个大学部的学生们毕业。
And they left their research incomplete.
然后呢，他们就是后来没有完全就是结束这个研究。
Several years later, some other students in the same university wanted to do the same research.
几年之后呢，就是后面进到大学的这个学生呢，他们想要再继续持续这个研究。
So they decided to follow up on the research that had been started.
所以他们就决定把之前他们学长姐做的研究接下来，然后继续做。
They were able to contact about 80 to 90% of the students.
然后他们可以呢，就是继续跟以前他们学长姐做的研究，大概研究里面80%-90%的人可以跟他们联系。
To their amazement, they found that most of them had become professionals.
然后非常惊讶的是呢，就是来自这个 Brooklyn 这个区域的那个学校的学生，很多后面都成为了就是都有很好的职业。
They become doctors, lawyers, teachers.
然后很多呢是医生，或者是这个法官、律师，对。
So they were amazed.
所以他们很惊讶。
So they decided they would try and interview some of these people.
所以他们就开始呢，针对他们，然后进行一些访问。
So they were able to go to many of them.
所以他们就去找他们，
and they all said the same thing.
然后这些人的回应呢都差不多。
What do you think they said?
你觉得他们说什么呢？
Thank you for the teacher's teaching. Yes, very similar. They said, we had this teacher.
所以呢，他们就说了，他们有一位老师。
So, again, they were very curious. So they wanted to contact this teacher. She was already retired, but she was still alive.
那时候做研究的这些学生，他们就想要就是知道说，到底是哪个老师呢？所以他们就决定开始联系，然后那个老师已经退休了。
So they went to her and they had big pads of paper. They wanted to write all the notes.
然后他们就去找这个老师，然后他们准备好一张纸，然后想要记下来，到底那个老师有什么好方法？
What are your techniques?
就是你是用哪些方式呢？
What was your methodology?
对，哪些方法？
The teacher laughed.
这时候那个老师就笑了。
She said, I didn't have any fancy technology or methodology or techniques.
他说我并没有任何的教学独特的方式。
I love my students and I believed in them.
我爱他们，那我信任他们。
And that was enough to get these students from really, really bad backgrounds to make a success of their lives.
那光是那样就已经足够让他们可以离开他们那时候比较不好的处境，然后到后面他们可以发展成比较好的状况。
I love this quote. You want to just say it in Chinese?
OK， 好，那这边呢就是老师分享一段话。那老师呢，他像是一个这个水库一样，然后学生呢，那学生呢就是这个水库的这个水龙头。
As is the water in the tank, so is the water that comes from the taps.
好，那就像水呢，在这个水库里面，那这个水呢，它是从水龙头里面流出来的。
So what does that mean?
你觉得这个是什么意思呢？
How is the teacher? How is the student?
How is the teacher? How is the students?
所以就是老师是什么，那学生就会是什么。
Teachers are remembered more from what they were than from what they taught.
好，那通常呢，学生会记得他的老师是怎样的老师，比学生记得老师教更多。
没错。
Now, if I were to ask any of you, especially those who are a little bit older, what do you remember from school?
那我们现在问大家，你还记得以前在学校的情景吗？
Do you remember all the facts and figures that the teachers were ramming in your heads?
你还记得那些老师他们塞给你的那些学科知识吗？
Or do you remember the teachers?
还是你记得老师？
I remember my teachers. I don't remember what they taught me very much.
大部分人可能是记得老师，但是不太记得他们到底教了什么。
So, it's how we are as teachers, the love we have, the compassion we have, the patience we have. That's what's going to go to the children.
所以呢，最后学生学习的呢是老师所给予出来的包容、跟爱和关怀。
Normally, Dr. Jumsai will speak about this, but he didn't mention it today, so I will. That it is not what we say, it's what we are.
好，那在教育上面，与其我们教的内容就注重在我们在说什么，不如就是我们实际就做，成为那样子的人。
The children will only remember about 10%.
学生呢，他只会记得我们教的内容的10%。
90% is from us. I remember once in Thailand, I'm sure it's the same in every school, sometimes there's an epidemic of lice. You know lice? Head lice? Taiwan, you don't have lice?
头虱。
哦 ，yes，
Yeah?
头虱。
well, I had lice.
然后老师他就在泰国，然后他有一次就是有头虱这样，
I caught it from the children.
然后他是因为学生的关系，所以老师就也有了。
So when I was teaching at that period, I was scratching my head a lot.
所以那个阶段呢，老师他教课的时候常常在抓头，
And I was not aware of it.
然后他没有发现，
Then I saw the children keep touching their heads.
然后他就看到，哎，怎么学生都开始不断的抓头？
I don't think they had lice because we just deliced them.
好，那老师就想说，哎，学生应该是没有头虱的啊，因为才刚帮学生做过那个除虫，
But they were following me.
但是学生呢都跟着老师一起抓头。
And there's something that is called the silent teacher.
那大家可能有听过，就是这个静默的教学，
And it's probably the most important part.
那这可能就是很重要的。
It's not what we say,
所以很多时候在教学现场，
it's
并
what
不
we
是
are.
我们说的，而是我们做的。
And, you know, I have all these songs. And I remember one day I was not feeling very happy. And it was actually Dr. Jumsai who gave me this big message.
那有一天呢，老师他并不是很开心，
And my song was called Smile.
然后他写了一首歌叫做《微笑》。
And I wasn't really feeling like smiling.
那时候老师他并不觉得他想要微笑，
But I was singing the song.
但是他在唱《微笑》这首歌。
And he called me aside.
然后这时候呢，那个 Jumsai 教授他就把他叫进来，
And he said, this is very dangerous.
他说这个有点危险哦，
You're telling them to smile,
你在教他们要微笑，
but your heart is not smiling.
但是你的心并没有在微笑。
And this is what we call the silent teacher.
所以这个就是我们所说的这个安静的老师。
An example. Most teachers will teach the children, don't smoke.
那很多老师会教孩子不要抽烟，
It's not good for you.
对你不好。
Then they go home and they smoke.
但是他们回家，他们自己照常抽烟。
What they're saying will not really go to the heart of the child.
所以他们所说的其实很难传达给孩子。
So it is what we are as teachers that is so important.
所以身为老师，重要的是我们是什么样的人。
The mediocre teacher tells.
好，那中等的老师呢说，
The good teacher explains.
好的老师呢解释，
The superior teacher demonstrates.
好，那更好的老师呢还会示范。
The great teacher inspires.
那最好的老师呢，他是启发。
And it is that inspiration that helps the children to really develop.
但是这样子的启发呢，可以帮助孩子成长。
Having trouble with the computer, sorry. This is what some time ago, he was the Secretary of Education in the USA, William Bennett.
这个是 William Bennett 所写的。他说，如果
He says, if we want our children to possess the traits of character we most admire, we need to teach them what those traits are.
如果我们今天呢要教育孩子呢，我们所认可的这些个性或性格，让他们拥有，那我们必须要教导他们那些好的优点到底是什么。
How do we teach them?
那你要怎么教呢？
Show them. Be that. That is the way that they will learn.
所以呢，我们要体现出这些优点。
You might be thinking, what is she talking about? She was going to talk about techniques. Maybe this is one of the most important techniques.
所以很多在座的各位来到这里，可能想说，哎，今天老师要分享的或许是教学教法，但是事实上，老师现在传达的就是一种可能是更好的这样子的一个概念传达给大家。
I will talk about techniques, but they're less important.
老师他会讲教学教法，比较后面他觉得那个比较那
The most
个是比较次要的，那这个是比较重要的。
the most important aspect of education is you as teachers.
在教育上面最重要的其实是在座的各位，
There's nothing more important.
没有比各位更重要的。
Now, I would like to tell you another story, again from America.
好，那我现在要分享，就是也是在美国的另外一个故事。
I'm not American.
不是美国人，
I'm English.
我是英国人。
But there are a lot of interesting stories.
但是有很多发生在美国的有趣故事。
Again, it was from a very difficult area in New York.
然后同样的呢，也是发生在纽约的一个比较混乱的一个区域。
And there was a teacher who just started in a school.
那有一个老师呢，他就刚刚开始要在一所学校教学。
And he really wanted to help the students.
他很想要帮助他学生。
But the students, a lot of them were very rebellious.
但大部分的学生都很叛逆。
Aggressive.
然后都很激进。
Misbehaving.
而且都不守规矩。
And there was one boy in particular who was a big problem.
然后其中呢有一个男孩，他一直是一个大问题。
But this teacher really wanted to help him.
那老师很想帮这个孩子。
He believed that within this boy, deep down there was goodness, and that through hurt and through difficult problems he'd become like this.
他相信这个孩子的本质其实是良善的，但是因为他生活上面临很多的状况或受伤过，所以才会有这样子的反应出现。
So one day during the lunch break, he said to the boy, "Stay back, I want to talk to you."
所以有一天午休的时间，老师就找这个学生过去，想跟他谈话。
At first the boy was very angry and aggressive and said, "I don't want to talk to you. You're just going to say bad things to me and scold me."
一开始的时候，这男孩非常反抗，就是说我才不要跟你讲话，因为你一定是要骂我。
But the teacher said, "No, I really want to help you. I want to know how you feel and what's happening in your life."
然后老师说不，我是真的很想要了解你的感觉，然后我想知道你生命上发生了什么事。
So the boy agreed.
这个男孩同意了。
And he asked for a piece of paper.
然后他就要一张纸
and a pen.
拿一支笔。
And he drew this.
然后他画了这个。
And he said to the teacher, "What do you see?"
问老师说：“您看到什么？”
Now I think if most of us are honest, if we look at this, what we see is a black dot.
好，各位看到就是一个黑点。
But he thought about it very deeply.
但是他深深的思考。
And he thought there must be a reason why this boy has shown me this.
他想说，一定有一个原因，这个孩子画了这个点给我。
So he said, "What I see is a vast expanse of white. And in the middle, a tiny black dot."
所以他说呢，这个是非常非常白亮的这个纸张中间有一个小小的黑点。
The boy was very moved.
这个孩子他感动，
He even started to cry.
他甚至哭了。
He said, "You're the first person who has seen the white."
他说你是第一个看到白色的老师。
We are so ready to see that black spot.
好，我们看到孩子画了这个时候，我们可能就是非常就专注在这个黑点上。
A child or one of our colleagues or somebody may have 100 good qualities, but they do something wrong, and that's what we pounce on.
好，我们的孩子或者是甚至我们的同事呢，他们做非常多的事情，是非常多，可能100件好事，但是我们有时候他们可能做错一件事情，我们就只看到他做错的那件事。
So I think this is for me, this was a very great lesson when I heard this story.
所以呢，这个故事呢，就是给老师很大的一个启发。
Dr. Jumsai mentioned about the little kingdom of Bhutan.
好，那今天早上呢 ，Dr. Jumsai 有提到不丹这个地方。
When we were in Bhutan, the Minister of Education gave a talk.
当他们在不丹的时候呢，那个教育部长呢就有谈。
And it was while we were doing a training, so there were trainers of teacher trainers. It was like the top trainers of the teachers in Bhutan.
好，那时候同与会的人还有很多，就是都是师训培育师资的老师。
But of course, everyone was a teacher.
好，那所有在场的人都是老师。
And this is what he said.
好，这时候呢，这个是那个部长说的。
I will go so far as to say that no one else in the country is as well and uniquely positioned to fulfill the noble aspiration as the people in this very room.
好，那他说呢，在这个房间里面，就是他们那时候参加会议的场合里面呢，大部分的人都是充满这些独一的这些高尚的启发，可以启发人的。
You truly hold the golden key in your hands.
各位手中呢都是握着一把金钥匙。
I cannot honestly say that to any other audience in this land.
我没办法呢，在这个土地上跟其他人说这句话。
So we need an education system that encourages the parents' commitment and participation.
那另外呢，我们还需要一个教育的体系，它是能够鼓励家长们，他们能够承诺，而且能够一起参与这个教育。
It's like a triangle.
就像一个三角形。
The child is in the top angle.
好，那孩子是在最高的那个点。
And the bottom two is the teachers and the parents.
那底端呢，就是老师还有家长。
So we have to work together.
所以是一体的，大家一起合作。
We need an education system that concentrates more on the child's transformation rather than just acquiring information.
好，我们要呢着重的是孩子他们的转变，而不是只是单纯的给予资讯。
So Dr. Jumsai was talking about meditation or silent sitting, and I'll go into that later. But this is one of the real keys that helps the child to go within.
所以呢，是希望透过教育，让孩子可以更深入到他的内在，去启发他这个本体的价值。
So what are the goals of Educare?
好，那 Educare 的教学目标、教育目标是什么呢？
The first and most important is excellence.
好，第一个是让他们能够达到这个很好的一个状态。
Excellence on every level.
不管是在哪一个阶段。
Not just excellence in studies.
并不是只有学术上面的成就而已。
But excellence as a person.
而是成为一个卓越的人。
So children performing in India.
好，那这个是学校的学生呢，在印度的表演。
So students. To develop an attitude of selfless service.
好，那要学习呢，怎么开展出一个无私的奉献的一个精神。
To encourage the children to help others, to think of others first.
好，鼓励他们呢，永远把别人放在第一位。
We have 2 questions in our school that from the very beginning we ask our children to ask themselves.
在孩子进入到学校的一开始，老师会请孩子问自己。
The first question, before they do anything, is it good for me?
在他们开始做任何事情之前，先问我做的事情对我有什么好处呢？
The second question, if that is yes, is it good for others?
好，如果第一题的答案是对，那第二题呢，就是那我做的事情对其他人又有什么好处？
I was very happy yesterday we went to see a very interesting and beautiful school called the Seed
好，那
School.
昨天呢，老师他参访了那个种子学校。
And when they were explaining it, they said something very similar.
当到了种子学校之后，老师也很惊叹，因为他们同样也是说了类似的话。
That they want the children to ask if it's good for them, if it's good for others.
所以同样的，他们也是希望孩子能够问自己说：“哎，我现在做的事情是不是对我自己好，而且同样也对别人好？”
So we encourage our children to do service.
所以我们鼓励孩子呢，在学校服务。
Inside the school, outside the school.
然后在校外也是服务。
This is children not just helping with the environment, but teaching each other and helping each other. This in the top corner is grade 1. And in my classes, if a child is finished, I get them they help their friends. So it's like peer learning.
好，那在右上角这个图是1年级的学生，那他们如果完成自己的课业，老师会请孩子就是也去帮助课堂上其他的同学，然后是一起学习。
And older children helping the younger children.
所以呢，比较年纪长的孩子就会帮助比较年轻的。
I'd like to just tell you a little story. One of the most important things that happened in my life.
分享另外一个在他生命中很重要的一个故事。
It was a real turning point.
对他来说是一个转捩点。
And it was before actually we had the school.
那是在盖了这一个学校之前发生的。
And I was working in Bangkok. I was teaching slum children.
那在老师他在这个 Sathya School 成立之前，他是在泰国曼谷的一个贫民窟教学。
I was teaching human values.
然后那时候他就已经开始教这个人文的价值。
And I was also teaching children in a special class that were from very rich families.
然后他也教其中有一个课堂的孩子呢，他们家的那个孩子是来自有钱的家庭。
Both had their problems.
但是都有，就是不管是富有家庭或者是很贫穷的家庭都有问题。
And both sides, it was difficult for them to at first with the human values.
而且大部分的孩子都有这个人文价值上面的问题。
One day, I decided to take the rich children to a home that was called the Pukret Home for Children, for Disabled Children.
然后有一天，老师呢决定把那个来自比较富有家庭的孩子带去参访这个有点类似残障儿童的家。
I wanted them to have the experience, to realize how incredibly lucky they were. They had everything, and yet they were not satisfied.
老师要这些富有家庭的孩子呢，去了解说他们真的很幸运，就是他有所有的东西。
Now this home is a government home. They really do their best, but the children are in very bad condition.
那这个呢，他们参访的地点是这个残障儿童的这个照护中心，所以他的状态并不是很好，那是政府所设立的。
There is one room in this home that is particularly terrible.
那这个中心里面有一个房间，就是状况真的非常不好。
And in this room, the children are actually waiting to die.
在那个房间里面的孩子，其实他就是等死。
A lot of the children have these enormous heads. I don't know what it's called. Where they have these enormous heads.
水脑子。
It's a disease. I can't remember what it's
所
called.
以他那时候去参访的时候，就是其中有几个孩子，他们的头是异常的，就是长大，就是头骨这边就是非常的大。
And they have the mentality of just newborn babies like that.
然后另外他们还有就是刚新生儿。
And some of them were quite big.
然后有的就是很大。
And the first thing when you go into this room that hits you was the smell.
那你到了这个中心，第一件事情让你惊叹就是它的那个味道。
Because none of these children had any control on their bodily functions.
那这些孩子呢，他们并没有办法控制他自己的这个生活。
The workers did their best, but it was very hard.
那边的人员呢，他们已经尽力就是维护那个中心，但是他们也就只能尽力。
And the noise.
好，所以再来是声音。
Screaming.
很多的尖叫声。
A lot of the children would bang their heads against the wall.
然后还有很多孩子，他会一直撞墙，用头去撞墙。
So we got to the door, and the children who were with me, they were afraid. They didn't want to go in.
跟老师、孩子一起去参访的孩子们呢，他们开始害怕，不敢进去。
To be quite honest, I didn't want to go in either.
然后坦白说，老师他也不太敢进去。
It was quite scary.
就是有点恐怖的。
But I'm the teacher. I must set the example. I have to go first.
老师是老师，要成为孩子的典范，所以他还是进去了。
So we went in and we'd taken some musical instruments. We decided we were going to play some music.
所以他们就决定进到这个中心，然后开始呢，就是他们有带着乐器，然后想要表演。
So we put down a mat.
他们就放了一块地垫。
And we had some instruments and we started to play and sing.
他们就开始呢，演奏乐器、唱歌。
The first incredible thing happened.
第一件很神奇的事发生了，
The noise stopped.
开始没有那些很吵的声音，
The children tried to crawl over to where we were.
然后很多孩子开始想要爬向他们。
I was playing an instrument which is called a harmonium, which is like a little organ, and one child tried to get inside it.
老师呢，他是在那个弹奏一个是手风琴吗？然后他说有一个孩子他想要爬进去，就是往他的那个爬进去。
And as long as we played and we sang,
好，那老师他们就是一边弹奏一边唱歌，
the children were quiet.
然后孩子都很安静。
But as soon as we stopped, the noise started again.
当他们停止演奏的时候，孩子的噪音又开始。
So I said to my children, now is time. We should go round to the beds and we should give love and good feeling to these poor children.
然后接着呢，老师他们就决定一个一个到每个人的床位，然后去给爱跟关怀。
Again, being the teacher, I had to go first.
然后当然，身为老师，他要走在前面，
And I went to the bed of this one child.
所以他就走到一个孩子的旁边。
And as I said, this was one of the real amazing experiences of my life.
然后就有一件就是影响他生命的事情。
This child was very long,
这个孩子很长
this huge head.
，OK， 然后他的头也是一样非常的肿大。
He was just had a bit of cloth around him which was wet because they don't have any control.
那他的衣服呢，他就是有一块小小的碎布，然后是湿的盖在他身上。
And so I picked up this child.
老师把他抱起来，
And it was like holding a stick.
然后抱起来的感觉就像抱着一根棍子，
The arms were out like this.
然后他的手直直的往外伸，
And it was totally hard.
然后是非常僵硬的状态。
And I have to be really honest that my first feeling was almost disgust.
老师的第一个感觉就是恶心，他真的很坦白，就是恶心，
Is this really a human being?
就是这真的是人吗？
Then I immediately stopped my thought.
然后老师就马上停止他的思想。
And I thought, this child has the same as all of us.
这个
He has
孩
a heart, he has love.
这个孩子其实就跟我们也一样，他是有心，然后也是有爱的。
And I thought of everything that I love most in the world.
然后老师这时候想了一下，他在世界上面最爱的东西
I。thought of my family, I thought of many things, and I hold this child.
然后老师他想他的家庭，然后呢，他同时抱紧这个孩子。
The most extraordinary thing happened.
然后这时候发生一件事，
These arms that were out like this, like sticks, came around me.
哦，那刚刚呢很僵直的手，慢慢的就是把老师抱住，
and held me.
然后抱紧老师。
And I felt this absolute feeling of love passing from his heart to mine.
这时候老师可以感觉有一种爱是在他的心跟那个孩子的中间流动。
And it was one of the biggest lessons I've ever had in my life.
哦，这对老师来说是一个非常有意义的一课。
That even a child like this has this love inside them.
即便那个孩子是那样，但是同样他还是有爱的。
And what I received from that was so great.
老师同样，孩子对老师的回应，那种感觉也是很好的。
So we must encourage our children to do service, to help others.
我们需要鼓励我们的孩子呢做服务，然后来帮助别人。
So the third, the all-round development of the child, not just the brain. We were hearing about brain-based learning. No, we want to develop every part of the child.
所以谈到儿童发展的话，就不是只有谈到他的脑部发展，就是整个人、全人的发展。
So the child learns many skills, many arts.
那孩子呢，在学校学很多的技巧、技艺、艺术。
And most important of all, to know oneself.
最重要，最后是知道自己，认识自己。
Can you imagine if the goal of education all over the world was to know oneself? how different this world would be.
那大家想一下，如果现在世界各地的教育目标是认识自己，那会不会我们的教学也不一样？
But the important thing about this is if we want the children to know themselves, what about the teachers?
那这边呢，我们讲的是孩子认识自己，那老师呢？
So we're all on this journey together of self-exploration, finding out who we are, what we are.
所以无论是老师还是学生，我们都是在这样子发现自己、认识自己的这个旅程当中。
And one of the greatest tools for this is silent sitting or meditation.
那最重要让认识自己的方式就是静坐冥想。
And to realize one's true potential.
然后呢，了解到自己这个真实的潜力。
I'm just going to finish this bit and then maybe we can just stop for a few minutes. I think everybody needs a break. So what is the uniqueness of this kind of education?
好，那我们刚刚谈到的教育，它的独特性是在哪里呢？
Where's it gone? Sorry, this thing is doing funny things. Okay. Go back. EHV is not a subject, but rather the purpose of life.
好，这个 EHP 呢，它并不是一个科目，它是呢我们生命的一个目标。
The blossoming of human excellence.
它是呢我们人发展卓越的一个状态。
Values are brought out in everything the child does, in all subjects of school, in all life experiences.
那不管呢是在学校教学的科目上面，或者是孩子的生命经验当中，这些价值都需要被体现出来。
It is the unification of worldly and spiritual knowledge which creates a balance.
好，那它同样的跟就是这个精神性，然后还有这个知识呢，全部都是达成一个平衡的状态。
So you would be wondering why I haven't gone into techniques. But I think this is actually more important, that we really understand, the importance of us as teachers.
所以老师刚刚分享的呢，就是对于教学上面老师需要具备的一些体认。那老师觉得这非常重要，所以他先分享。
But there's still a little time, so I will go into how we teach, but I think we should have a 10-minute break.
好，那我们先休息一下10分钟，然后等下老师会继续。
And I'm going to get you all to sing again.
好，那我们先休息一下，然后等下回来唱歌。
So please have a break.